Welcome back here with Goldberg. Today I'm going to be addressing a request I received. This is someone who is interested in becoming a YouTuber, doing content creation, and they wanted to know what was my experience and what I recommended as a potential business opportunity. Truth be told, it's going to depend on what you choose to focus your channel around. That's going to influence how well you do and how long you last. You need to pick something that's a little bit less controversial, but you also need to be willing to invest the money and time to make it high quality, because today's YouTube is not that of when I started back in 2015, where I didn't look at it like a money-making scheme. To me, it was I wanted to do some educational videos and maybe grow from that. And at a certain point, which took a while, for a couple of reasons. One, I was just doing basic vlogs. The background noise wasn't great. Sometimes the microphone didn't exactly pick up. And then, of course, you have the situation where if your webcam's not mounted properly and you try to film the video, you end up having those kind of Greta Thunberg eyes where you're not really looking at the camera. So that was certainly an adventure. But once I started talking about particular social issues, it grew exponentially. Even though I don't, take these to heart, I don't treat them very seriously. I'm kind of like, whatever, I like to have fun, so I'll make fun of everyone, just have a good time. And some people, of course, you damage their egos. I think it was like, who's the popular channel? iSuperwoman. I think her younger, more feminine sister got angry at me at one point, but that's just kind of part of the program. And I think it was 18 or 19. I remember some prominent MGTOW who basically just does MGTOW because he wants to make money, and he was whining about the fact that he had lost a bunch of revenue because of demonetization, which happened to me as well, even though I I had like a really happy-go-lucky approach to the subject. They demonetized all those videos. If it had MGTOW in it, it was going to get demonetized. So right there you have like a loss of probably like 40% of ad revenue, which up until that time was pretty good. Like, I've seen articles on what some people make, and bear in mind, I was just doing basic vlogs. I was doing pretty well monthly, getting a pretty decent-sized freedom dividend or whatnot. So I said, this is pretty solid. Well, after that, it was about a 40% reduction. And so they did that, and then the next thing they started is if you had any videos that were tangentially related, like you had some controversial videos, or the ones they didn't like that they demonetized, and you had others that were fine, they would either demonetize those without explanation, or they would work the algorithm such that your channel would not be seen because you had certain videos. Another thing they do with smaller channels is you'll upload a video and you'll immediately demonetize it, because smaller channels are probably going to get most of their views in the first 12 hours. So if they demonetize it, the time it takes for them to do the manual review process, at least 24 hours if not more, you lose out on the ability to generate as much income. And so that's kind of like a soft demonetization, because they don't really want independent people on YouTube anymore. That was the YouTube of the past. Google wants YouTube to be more of like a competitor to Netflix. So at that point, just random demonetizations are happening. And then, of course, the more recent thing was COPPA, which I guess they just started more vigorously enforcing. COPPA makes it such that your channel doesn't function properly if you want to, have channels that are kid-friendly. They disable comments, they disable other things, certain ads. Then if you say that it's not kid-friendly, you don't get all the ads possible. So they're really trying to squeeze out people who don't fit their specific definition of being like a nice corporatized YouTuber, which, again, that's up to them. That's their decision. I mean, it's a business choice. I'm not going to be here all like self-righteous. I've never thought of it as a good way, a good business model as far as ads are concerned to make it. But certainly, if you're looking at YouTube right now, there's a couple things you have to realize. First of all, you need to talk about something that's easy to monetize. It's not particularly controversial. A good thing would be like Amazon product reviews, something I've thought of doing, or consumer product reviews, sports, whatever you see on TV that they don't have a problem with, that's something you might discuss. But you have to do it well. All right. One of the problems of being a content creator is that you are constantly being inundated with this. You got to do this. You got to improve that. And it's like, okay, that's fine. But individual content creators on YouTube are running up against now production companies. If you don't have the proper thumbnails, if you don't have the proper edits, if you don't have high quality, content all the time, you're not going to get many views. You're not going to be paid attention to, and you have to produce it frequently. That's the other thing. So as an individual person, or maybe a couple of people, you have to be as good, if not pretty good, compared to people who have access to potentially millions of dollars in production budgets. So that's something just to be, aware of. That means you want to probably do something where, again, it's not controversial. Oh, I'm reviewing this speaker off of Amazon. I can put ads on that. Maybe I can get sponsorships. Or the girls doing makeup, although that's kind of oversaturated at this point. But if you're pretty, you probably won't have an issue. The point is, if you do something like current events, if you talk about social issues, unless you do it very carefully and you're kind of corporate approved, you're probably going to get demonetized. You're going to be hurt by the algorithm. That's just the name of the game. Long term, what I see YouTube doing is this. Either they're going to totally demonetize anyone who's not approved, like a corporate channel, or they're going to, basically severely restrict your ability to have any ads, any revenue whatsoever. Or they might just delete your channels wholesale, or perhaps what I've seen at another site that you would submit articles. You used to be able to delete your articles, and at a certain point they said, no, we own your content, but you don't really have access to it anymore. That could potentially happen depending on how their business model plays out. So I would say if you want to do something on YouTube, pick it. It has to be like a retail product of some sort. Hone in on that and make sure your quality is up to par, because you're not going to do very well if you're just sitting there thinking, well, I'm just going to do vlogs, because they don't like that. They don't like the Martin Goldbergs. They don't like the Pat Condells of the world, because it doesn't go along with the, corporate approved. This is nice. It's sanitized. They want something they can control. That is YouTube for the future.